Hi guys, welcome to my blog again. It is the 14th of January today, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about my life and where I've come from and where I am now. Before we do that, I've got two updates. I've received some copies of the book now. These are listed for free giveaways on goodreads.com, and the link's on my website and the home and the page of the book. So if you click on the book, you find the link and you can enter the competition. Well, it's not so much competition, you just enter your details, and if you get picked, you'll receive a free copy. So as you can see, that's me on the back, a little brief summary of me and my life. And then at the back of the book, we've got the daily diary, you can see that. Although these copies, they have been slightly changed. Rather than the grid that you see there, it's just lines, so it's not so complicated, because I reviewed the book and it could seem a little bit complicated to some people, so we've just gone for the excuse me, the simple option of lines. So yeah, there's my book. You can enter now for a free copy on goodreads.com, or you can buy it on Amazon. You can buy it anywhere in the world on Amazon. Amazon Europe, UK.com, all of them. I've also got booked tomorrow a interview for the Worcestershire newspaper. So if you live in anywhere in Worcester, keep an eye out for that, because you should see me in the newspaper over the next week or two. So let's get started on a little bit of my background. When I was growing up, I mean we had a good family up until I was about 9 or 10. And excuse me, and I was one of 6. My older brother, he lived with his mum. We have different mums, but there were the 5 of us, which I'm the oldest of, with the same parents. And up until about the age of 9 or 10, everything was absolutely fine. I had a really good upbringing. And then unfortunately drugs got involved with my parents, and they became dependent on heroin. And at the age of 12, my dad was taken into prison. I think he was 4.5 years in total, because of the crimes that he did to raise the funds to supply his habit and my mum's habit as well, and look after 5 children. So at the age of 12, when my dad got taken into prison, I think my mum had some sort of breakdown and she just left, and I was looking after my 4 brothers and sisters at the age of 12. And then my auntie came, she saw what was going on, she called the police and social services, and we all ended up going to live there for a bit. That broke down for me after a short few months, and I ended up going into foster care. And when I was in foster care, I was very angry, but not just angry. I was one of them children that I didn't really care. So if you're not my mum and dad, because they were the only people that I'd listen to, then you had absolutely no authority over me, no matter who you are, how old you are, anything like that. I had no time whatsoever. I'm Melissa. I was doing what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it, and how I wanted to do it, and that's exactly what I did. And due to my behaviour, I was carted off to probably about 5 different foster homes, and then I went to a children's home in Birmingham for a brief period, but again they had absolutely no control over me. I'd run away, I'd stay out for days on end. So the final step was for me to go to a place called the Uplands, which is in Bromsgrove. And I say the final step because when you go there, you either go back home to your family, you move out so you're living independently when you get to the appropriate age, or you go to a secure unit for your own well-being. So when I went there, I did run away a few times. I stayed away. When I first moved there, I was trying to run away so desperately, but I couldn't get away because it was in the middle of nowhere. I had no idea where I was, and the staff that worked there, absolutely fantastic, all of them. I do miss them all, if I'm honest. They'd catch you. They would literally catch you, restrain you, put you in the car, and then take you back home. And they'd monitor you 24/7 to make sure you didn't get away. because of course at that age, and a lot of people in care, they're very, very vulnerable, and I didn't really see that at the time because I've always been a lot more mature for my age than what I should have been, really. So yeah, so the first time I actually got away, I went for about 3 months. I did not want to go back, and I was actually in the newspapers, I was a missing person, and I was staying with a cousin down in Northfield in Birmingham for about 3 months, and I finally had enough, so I went back, and I went there when I was 13, so from the age of 12 to 13, excuse me, I was at a family's house, about 5 different foster carers and a children's home. So I was there for 3 years. You know, we had a lot of ups and downs, but looking back now, I think there was more ups than there was downs. But because I was in that state of mind where, you know, nobody rules over me, I do what I want to do, I think I gave myself more of a hard time than, you know, what the reality actually was. But, I mean, going to the upland really changed my life. It opened me up to, you know, away from the city to a more peaceful, nice countryside life, because that's exactly what it was. You look out your window in the morning, there was fields full of sheep and horses and cows, and it was really, really nice. Unfortunately, it's closed down now, and it's a bit too late to do anything about it, but hey, that's how cookie crumbles sometimes. But yeah, that really changed my life. The staff there was absolutely amazing. It was a very, very nice place, and if I had the chance now, I would go back and I would absolutely relive it all, definitely. I remember sometimes in the summer, because we was on a lot of land, we did have a lot of land. I mean, there was a giant house that housed, I think, 18 children, with 3 members of staff to stay overnight, and there was different units. There was 3 different units, and each unit had 3 or 4 bathrooms, a dining room, a games room, a lounge, a kitchen. It was huge. And also on site there was a bungalow for the managers. There was a school for the children like myself who got kicked out of mainstream school, so there was no way of getting out of school in this place. There was a gym, an art room, there was a football pitch, well, like a hard court, and there was a skateboard ramp, and there was loads of hills. So in the summer we had these giant blue pieces of plastic, like a slide, and we just put them down right from the top all the way down to the bottom, and we'd fill it up with water and there was washing up liquid, and we'd just have a ball. We'd just be there all day until it got dark. It was really fun. And we used, every Tuesday, we used to go out with Dave, Stewart and Jeff, and we used to do some really fun activities. We used to go to the Malvern Hills. I can't really remember the other place we used to go, but we used to go really far out and go on some amazing walks and do rock climbing and, you know, really outdoor kind of activities. And on Thursdays, the girls, we'd have girls group, and we'd have beauticians come in and do our nails and give us facials, or we'd go to Pizza Hut and watch movies and stuff. And it was an absolutely fantastic experience for a child, to be quite honest. It was really, really fun. We'd go on holidays and all sorts. So yeah, when I was 16, I was able to move out independently, which not a lot of people are able to do at that age. It's usually at least 17 or 18. I think because I was so mature and I showed my capability of being able to look after myself, budget my money, you know, feed myself, clothe myself, keep everything clean and nice. So yeah, I was able to move out. From there, I moved into a hostel. I didn't like the hostel at all, because as far as I was concerned, I'd just left a children's home being monitored and had to be in by a certain time. You know, at that age, as far as I was concerned, I was an adult and I was ready to live on my own completely. So I ended up getting kicked out of there because I, in fact, broke the fire door and the glass to get out. It sounds quite bad now thinking back. So yeah, I got kicked out of there. I went to stay in a few bed and breakfasts all over the city, because I kept getting kicked out for my behaviour. And my behaviour wasn't because I was just being a rebel. It was because I didn't want to be in these places at all. I wanted my own place. which I finally got in the end after a couple of months. I was moved into a 2-bedroom house in Smelly. Again, absolutely fantastic, and since then I've not been in trouble with the police. I've not been in trouble with anybody, because I got what I always wanted, and I was finally able to be me, to be the adult, and to run my own life. And I think it was because of being able to do that at 16 as well, and being in care, because when you're in care, anybody that's been in care knows that you do literally, you have to look after yourself. You know, there's no mums telling you to do this or do that or anything like that. It is just you. I mean, the staff that are there, a lot of them, they are very nice and very kind, and, you know, they do want the best for you, but ultimately you are on your own. And I think it's because of that I've been able to get to the place where I'm at now. Because, for example, if I'd have been still living with my family when I was 12, the family that we went to after my dad went to prison, I don't think I'd be where I am now. I think my life would be completely different, and not for the better either. I think because I'm such a strong-willed person, and it is literally kind of my way or the highway, I'm where I am now, which is fantastic. When I was 18. Yeah, I was 18. I'd not long had my first son, Corey, who's now 7. And I was living on James Turner Street. So I was living on James Turner Street in Winson Green. A lot of people know it as Benefit Street. So yeah, I was living there. I was there for about a year or so. And everything was fine. I was a single parent. Because unfortunately, his dad was not for me. We'll just put it there, not for me. Yeah, so I was on my own there for quite a while, and I was actually smoking weed, and I'd been smoking weed since I was probably about 10 or 11, but at this point, again, because I was an adult and I could do what I wanted to do, I was able to smoke it every day, which I was doing, so I was addicted. And I remember lying in my bed on the night times, absolutely crying my heart out, because I just wanted to stop. I didn't want to, be an addict to a drug anymore. So I'd lie crying every night, and really trying to change, and praying to God. I was praying to God so hard. And then one day, I got up with a friend, my mum's partner at the time, and was to meet up in Handsworth, in Soho Road. And I had my son with me, and we got on the bus, and I smoked a spliff in the morning. And we'd got on the bus, I think we was going into town to meet another one of our friends, me and my friend at the time, Shane. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I didn't know what was happening. All I needed to know was I needed to get off that bus. So I quickly got off the bus, said to my friend, we need to get off the bus. And he had no idea what was going on, neither did I. So I got my son and we got off the bus. And I walked down the road a little bit. I thought, right, I don't know what's going on here, but, it's all right. I didn't know anything about anxiety or panic attacks. So we got back onto the bus. And again, it just hit me so hard because, if anyone that's from Birmingham or has been in Handsworth, the buses up there, they are always packed to the absolute brim. They are very, very packed. And it was the summer as well. I'll never forget it. So, yeah, it hit me again. But this time, I just left my son, and my friend had to take his pushchair off the bus, and I just run off the bus. And I was walking down by Hockley Flyover. And I just felt so sick, and my heart was racing, and I was going to die. There was no two ways about it. I was going to die. I was white, I was shaking, for absolutely no reason. Nothing had happened. It was just normal stuff. I've always been on buses. I've always been around them areas for my whole life. And I was trying to make myself sick under the flyover, and people was looking, what's going on. And then I had to call an ambulance, and I says, look, I'm going to die. And I gave what weed I had left to my friend. I says to him, look, don't give it to me. I don't want it no more. I went to hospital, and I was there for a couple of hours. They did the ECG and stuff. The paramedics told me I'm having a panic attack, and I'm telling you, I can't breathe. she's telling me you can breathe, you know, you're breathing too much, that's why your arms are going tingly, because I thought I was having a heart attack, my arms were tingly, my heart was racing. So we were having this argument in the back of the ambulance, you know, she's saying I'm breathing too much, I'm like, I'm not, I need an oxygen mask or something, I need more air. And then we got to hospital, like I just said, we had the ECG, and then I just got a taxi with my son, and I just went to what was my old flat, because I was living in a one-bedroom flat in Maypole, and my mum and her partner, they put a deposit down on the house in James Turner Street, but we spoke about it, and they actually gave me the house, which was, you know, it was really nice, you know, they didn't need to do that. And yeah, so I went back to my flat where I knew my mum was and her partner, and that was it, I just stayed there. I went back to, I think I stayed there for 2 or 3 nights, and then I went back to James Turner Street, and I was only there for probably about 2-3 weeks, and at this point, I'd never come out of the panic attack from when I had it on the Hockey flight over. It never left me. I was on the sofa, and I've seen people withdrawing from heroin, and it was just like that. I was having hot and cold sweats, I couldn't sleep, it was absolutely horrendous. And I tried going out onto the street. If it's in Benefit Street, you'll know what it's like. Everyone was always out. It's the summertime. It's a big sofa out there. You know, everyone's just chilling, listening to music, having a laugh. And I couldn't. I just had to go back inside the house. And, you know, all my friends on James Turner Street, you know, was wondering what was going on. And it was horrendous. And so we just decided to pack up everything and for me to just go back to Maypole with my mum and just live there. And I lived with my mum there, just me and my mum, for about 6 months, and during that time I never went out. I had friends that would go and do my shopping for me if my mum was out having to do her things. And it got to a point where I had to ask my mum to move her bed into my room and to sleep in the same room as me, because I was waking up with night terrors and the most horrendous. I was having dreams where I was drugged up. I'll never forget them. And my mum was rushed to hospital, but we didn't know why. And I was living on James Turner Street in my dream. And I was so drugged up, and I was trying to get to her, and the anxiety inside of trying to get to my mum in the hospital, find out what was going on, but I couldn't move. Yeah, I was moving really slowly, and I just had to sleep. It's absolutely terrible. I know it doesn't sound that terrifying saying about it now. If you can imagine it being a dream, it's, you know, imagine that situation, it's really, really bad. So yeah, and then I spoke to my doctor, because I was on diazepam for a bit, but it was, you know, the highly addictive drug which I wasn't aware of, so I wasn't on absolutely nothing. I looked into anxiety a little bit. I stopped drinking tea, I stopped smoking cigarettes, I wouldn't eat no sugar, and anything that would bring my adrenaline and my anxiety up was completely cut off. And I used to have dreams. It sounds quite horrific now, but I think as well, it wasn't just anxiety. I think I was suffering from my own research, what I've looked into a little bit, about cannabis psychosis, because I was having dreams that I was chopping people's heads off, and I had them all these bodies stored in the cupboard in my flat. And the police came, knocked on the door, told me what was going on, had no idea that in my dream it was me that was doing it, or I was the mass murderer. And I says to him, I says, no, I don't know anything about it, I haven't seen anything. And then I shut the door, and I went upstairs. This is all in my dream, it's not real. And I thought to myself, oh, I know what, I'll give him a head, like a human head I chopped off. So I put this head in a bucket, and I went down the stairs, and I gave him the head. And he says, oh, you know, thank you ever so much for your help. And bye, and we shut the door, you know, I'm just giving him a human head. Dreams are absolutely crazy, but yeah, that was the kind of, you know, dreams I was having, just to show how unstable my mind really was, because I don't think that was just anxiety. I think it was a bit of cannabis psychosis as well, which I always thought that, you know, weed's absolutely fine, it's natural, it grows, you know, we just chill out and stuff, but, you know, I've literally been on the other side of it now. And I still suffer from it from this day. I mean, I'm not completely cured from anxiety, and I don't believe that anybody who's experienced severe anxiety and panic attacks will ever be cured from it, because when you start getting them feelings, or you get really nervous or something, you know, there's that little voice in the back of your head saying, Oh, are you having a panic attack? Are you going to die? Is your heart racing? Do you feel hot and sweaty? Do you feel dehydrated? Could this be a panic attack? Because once you already know what it is and you've experienced it, it's so traumatic. And for people that have never experienced it, I can maybe, if someone was being, someone was about to die, someone was about to kill somebody, and that anxiety, knowing that I am going to die right now, and that fear, because I think that's, how it would be. So if you can imagine someone, that's, literally about to die, and the fear that they must have, that's how it is, because in your mind, even though there's no actual, nothing physical there that, that's going to kill you, as far as you're concerned, you're going to die, and there's no two ways about it. It's absolutely horrendous. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, to be quite honest. Not that I have any enemies, but if I did, I wouldn't. It's something that, and it's not really talked about as much, and a lot of people that don't have it say, oh, you're just a bit worried, just chill out a bit, And it's like, I can't just chill out. It's not just, oh yeah, I'm alright, I'm just being silly. I'm just going to chill out, and, it's gone, it's fine. Because it's not like that. I mean, I had it, from morning till night, absolute normal days, but I was just in anxiety 24/7. It'd never leave me alone, never. And there was one occasion, after a couple of months, I went into King's Heath with my mum and my son, and she was going to meet her partner. And I says to her, oh, because I knew that I was really holding my mum back from this illness. And I says to her, you go, and I'll catch the bus on my own. And she looked at me, and she said, are you sure? And then she says, no, it's fine, I'll come back with you. And she later told me that when I says to you, are you sure, your face just went absolutely white, the colour just dropped. And it did, I know this because I felt them feelings, but I didn't want to be a burden anymore. So she came back with me and then went on the way back again, bless her. My mum was absolutely fantastic. During that time, if it wasn't for my mum, I don't know where I would be now. She was my rock, she really was. So yeah, and then I started going out. I'd only been out once or twice, and I was going down to my cousins who lived just a few stops away. And then I met Nicholas at the bus stop with a mutual friend. I didn't know him. And he chased me down the road, and I can't remember what he says to me. He says something, but he didn't have my number. And it turns out that he went to my flat with this mutual friend who knew me and my mum. And he got my number off my mum. He gave me a call. I met him that night with some beers at my cousin's, and we've been together ever since. It's been 7 years now. And he really gave me motivation and inspiration, because he knew the situation. I had a panic attack that night that I met him. It was not a good look on the first date. But yeah, and he knew the situation, and he really pushed me, and not pushed me in a sense of pressure, but in positive pushing me to go to college, to start getting out of the house. And I did just that, and I started going to, just before I met Nicholas, I started going to this group with other people that suffer from anxiety. And that was what made me start going out, because I used to get a taxi there because I wouldn't get a bus after what happened, because it happened on the bus. So, I always associate buses with anxiety attacks. Same as the summertime. When the summertime comes and it gets really hot, there is times where, I'll get a bit anxious because I associate it with getting really hot and sweating, and, from when it first happened. So, yeah, and then I went to this group, and there I met people who have suffered from anxiety their whole life, so they know nothing else, and others that, it just happens spontaneously, like myself. And absolutely fantastic, because it really taught me the facts behind anxiety, rather than just, you suffer from anxiety, here's some medication. There was no medication. It was learning. We was learning about it every single day, and about the vicious circle that you be in from negative thoughts. It was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, and the past 7 years, I've really had ups and downs. I mean, there's been times where I've been really anxious for a few weeks, then I've had to snap myself out of it and, you know, start doing what I talk about in my book, at being mindful and meditating, and not so much the law of attraction, because that's only something that I've learned about for about the past 2-3 years. So, you know, I did it all naturally, drinking herbal teas and things like that. And now I can safely say that I'm in a pretty good place at the moment. You know, everything's going absolutely fine. I've written this book not so much for me, but to help other people that suffer with anxiety or depression, or just people that, you know, they just feel that there's no escape from the life that they're in at the moment. You know, there's nothing there to run to, and they're stuck. I mean, what I've written in this book, you know, there is a way out. There's always a way out. So yeah, that was a little, well, I wouldn't say brief, I've been over 25 minutes now, but yeah, little story of my life. For anyone that's suffering from anxiety or depression, I hope that, you know, this can help you and to inspire you, because I mean, if I've done it, you know, I was a care home kid, suffering from anxiety, to smoke weed, you know, all of that, I've been there and I've done it to be where I am now. You know, if I can do it, then you can do it, and anybody that you know can do it and that they know can do it. Anybody can do it. I don't care where you're from, how old you are, you know, what life you've had. If you want to, you can, and it is very simple. I mean, how I've done it is 44 pages of reading. That's it, 44 pages of reading. And you can use it every day as well, which is very good. You know, because a lot of books that I've read, you know, I've read them once and they've been put on the shelf. So something that's easy to carry around and you can use every single day. So yeah, I think that's about it for today. I've also signed up to the Prince's Trust. There's a course on the Prince's Trust, and I'm going to be starting there on the 8th of February, and there's talk about me being a team leader, because I'll be the oldest, because I'm 25 and it's from 16 to 25. And with my experience with life, my life's experiences, yeah, they're talking about making me a team leader before I even started, to help coach other people, you know, and tell them about my story, and, you know, just how easy it really is. All you need is you. And the woman that I was talking to actually suggested, why don't you be a life coach, which is something that I have looked into and thought about, but I'm just focusing on the book at the moment. So life coaching, you know, it's not really something that's on my mind at the moment. I just want to get this book out there and help as many people as absolutely possible. And I mean, it is all true. It's not, I'm not just sitting there wishful thinking. It is true. I've done it. I mean, just the law of attraction, just something small. In 2013, I wanted to move to Great Malvern Hills. I was on benefit, had absolutely no money, I had no way of getting private rented over there because of how expensive it was. I knew nobody over there. Excuse me. But because I wanted it so bad, a way was shown, and within a couple of weeks, I was there. I was living in Malvern Hills. Had a beautiful 3-bedroom house. But I came back over here because it, you know, it was just much closer to family rather than travelling all the time. And then when I moved, before I moved to Malvern, I was living in Birmingham, and I was living in Perry Bar in a house that you wouldn't put a dog in there. You just wouldn't put a dog in there. I mean, the walls were black with mould. There was rats in the front garden, the back garden. It was absolutely disgusting. And what I really wanted, more than anything, I wanted to be able to go home and to see countryside. And where I live now, no matter which way you're coming from, you will see countryside. You will see beautiful hills and trees and, you know, all of them things. And that, again, which I've only recently realised, was the law of attraction, because I wanted it so bad, and it was all I was thinking about all day, all night, you know, and I was really picturing myself there. Like when I moved to Malvern, I went to Malvern, and as I was driving, I was so excited and so happy. I was like, yeah, you know what, this is going to happen, this is me. I lived in Malvern, and I did. And the same with where I'm living now, because I lived down the road just before I moved to Malvern. And I came down here, I thought, yeah, this is for me. I'm going to drive home every day and I'm going to see this view. And I do. Every single day now, no matter which side I'm coming from, I will always see the countryside, which is what I've always wanted. So it does work. It does work for absolutely everybody, you know. You don't have to be born with a silver spoon in your mouth. I mean, I surely wasn't. Not at all. And it worked for me. And, I mean, if you sit back and look at your life and things that have happened and your feelings towards it, you know, you may be able to see that, you know, I caused that to happen because I wanted it so bad. So if you sit and analyse your life and, you know, major things that have happened and what brought you there, you'll see that, you know, it is absolutely true, you know. It's amazing. I mean, like, you know, I talk about it in my book. You can't see it, you know, just like the oxygen. We all know that we breathe oxygen, you know, how many breaths every single day and every single night. But we can't see it, but it's still definitely there. You know, it's the same kind of concept. Right, so that's it for now. We've been going for half an hour. I hope you all have a good day. Yeah, and if you want to talk to me about anything, feel free to add my Facebook or send me an email or absolutely anything. There's even my number's on my website. You can give me a text if you like. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. Bye.